So far, the fact that President Trump will not concede underscores his campaign's all-out legal effort to challenge the results. But those efforts have had little traction in the courts so far. We turn now to Benjamin Ginsburg. His work as a Republican election lawyer spans decades and includes work on the landmark Bush v. Gore dispute after the 2000 election. Ben Ginsburg, thank you so much for joining us. The president and the people around him are saying there was widespread fraud. They are saying this election was stolen. Is there evidence that you see to back that up?
There is not evidence so far to back that up. And it's worth remembering, Judy, that those were allegations that were made before this election based on past elections with absolutely no proof of that. And so the credibility of these statements now are being called into question by courts.
I'm hearing some of the people around the president say, well, we gave Al Gore 37 days to contest the election result back in 2000. You can at least do the same for us. Is it an appropriate comparison?
Well, I think that a candidate taking his or her time to pursue recount and contest remedies as allowed under state law is appropriate. Remember, the Hillary Clinton campaign intervened in 3 Jill Stein very long shot recounts on December 26th of 2016, so that the president does have the ability to pursue those remedies. The difference here is that he's alleging fraudulent elections and rigged results that there is no evidence for.
So we're seeing lawsuits in at least 5 states that I can think of: Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, or if not lawsuits, the beginning, some sort of legal challenge. Pennsylvania seems to be the main focus because of the number of electoral votes it could give the president if the results were overturned. Do you see anything that's the making of a legitimate complaint there?
The case before the U.S. Supreme Court, which has to do with the absentee ballot deadline being extended for 3 days by the state Supreme Court rather than the legislature, is a real legitimate issue. But there aren't enough votes involved in that to change the outcome of the election. And the question of a legislature's role as opposed to a state Supreme Court's role does not have to be answered for the 2020 election.
So what about some of these other allegations in Michigan? They're saying they were alleging backdating of ballots. In Georgia, they were talking about late arriving ballots. Do any of these add up to something that could materially change the result?
Well, certainly not so far. I've been involved in trying to put together challenges to elections. And the truth is, you really need same-day, election day affidavits attesting to individual ballots being mishandled or fraudulent or somehow improper. And trying to create a case after an election is very difficult. They are allowed some time to try and get that together. But in reality, these cases tend to dissipate over time and not be successful.
So what is your best thinking estimation at this point, Ben Ginsburg, about what could happen?
I think the margins to make up in too many states are too great. And in fact, the processes that the individual states have in place require ballot by ballot, precinct by precinct, county by county findings of illegal ballots and fraud. And so far, in the evidence presented by the Trump campaign, there is not close to enough to overturn the results of the election.
Not for lack of trying. But Ben Ginsburg, we thank you very much.
Thank you, Judy. Nice to be with you.